Okay, again, my name is David Castillo. This is the second video of this locomotive. It's my second session on the tattoo. You'll see in the first video, if you watched it, that I already did the line work and the video starts after that's all healed. At the end of this video, you'll see a 10-second clip of the healed uh, locomotive itself. As you can see here, it looks like I'm still putting in a number 4 gray wash. Just, real deep, really deep gray. Just trying to make sure that I, get in all the right spots so that way after it heals up, it'll still hold its shape. And I believe I actually mentioned in the first video that I generally don't do my gray wash the way I do my color because I don't want to dilute my gray washes too much. So usually I try to go number by number. A lot of the times on pieces like this anyway, I'll try to apply a little bit of lidocaine to sink into the skin, maybe some Bactine to help the customer out because it could get a little bit more tender this way, jumping back and forth, so to say. So rather than just going by section. But I find that in the end it helps with the consistency significantly to not go back and forth through your caps as much. So see here, just doing little details up here. Probably looks like I'm still using a 13. It looks like I'm just kind of touching up a little bit of that shadow, I guess, before I build off of it. Sort of just a shadow from the railing. And as you can see here, I'm just kind of doing the very bottom. I wanted that to be, a little bit lighter. So I might be on maybe a number 3 gray wash now from Silverback. And I'm just having fun with it. This rail is pretty fun. You're going to see in the healed product that it'll have a fair amount of value to it. Now I'm just going in darkening up some of the little details, trying to make sure that they don't stand out too much, but it still has a little bit of depth to it. I don't want to make it all so dark to where you can't see it at all, but I don't want to make it so light to where it just looks kind of a paint by number thing. I want it to have a lot of value to it. And you can see right where I'm working right now, there's quite a bit of detail right there, so I might be there a little while. And it's all about just separating your tones, really. Making sure your value's there. And just having fun with it, really. To make sure the work comes out clean. You see him take a look right there. Probably thinking, oh, this hurts. You can see the skin's a little bit moist right now. All of a sudden, we probably sprayed a little bit of Bactine right there, just to kind of, give him a little bit of a break, or comfort rather, maybe. You see I'm just kind of bringing out this plaque, I guess, that would be on the side. You know, something like this, it's all the little things that make the difference. So, you know, you gotta really try to take your time to get those real little details. I know I dubbed the speed kind of fast, but hopefully you can still see quite a bit of the little details that I'm putting in right here when my hand's not there. Unfortunate part about having to stretch the skin. It's really not the best for videos, but you know, you have to, the main thing's the way the tattoo comes out, not my video. So, you know, if my hand's in the way from time to time, I apologize. You know, and you can see here, you know, I might kind of go over it a little bit, kind of layer. I like to treat my gray wash a lot of the time as sort of a painting. You know, if I need to darken up a little bit over it, you know, I will. I'd like to run my machines a little bit slow, so, you know, I can kind of, you know, play with it a little bit more. If I don't like where it's at, maybe I can darken it up, which actually I'm doing right there. Exactly kind of what I was talking about, darkening all this up a little bit. Looks like I'm probably going in with the number 4 and just darkening all that up a little bit more. You know, wasn't too happy with it. You know, I needed it to be a little bit more of a smooth transition between the black below that rail that you see right there, that's skin at this point, up to the gray wash, so that way, you know, just a little bit smoother. You can see I'm working on the top now, just trying to bring that out a little bit. So that way our train, you know, has a top to it, obviously. You know, making it pretty dominant still, so that way there'll be almost a shine onto the center of the locomotive itself, but still sort of bringing out that top pipe. So that way I have a chance to add a little bit more value with that. So, and just fading into that, you know, I'm not afraid to make it too dark into that shadow right there, because in the end, you know, I don't want that black shadow to stand out too much, so, you know, it needs to be pretty dark gray wash against it, so that way, you know, it kind of matches. So that way it's a little bit darker, but not, you know, extremely dominant. And it looks like here I'm just putting in some number 3 into little details that looks like I only threw 4 in before. Even though I said it might have been 3, obviously it was 4. Now I'm throwing in 3, it looks like. And again, if a lot of this seems like it's disappearing, the healed picture's at the end, so wait for that. If you've never used gray wash, then you'll kind of see how it heals. You know, how dark it is when you do it and how light it is. I mean, assuming that you're doing it correctly, or at least correctly to you, you know. One can be pretty dark if you put it in as such, or it could be extremely light. You know, it's just, it depends on how you want to put it in. You know, it looks like I'm probably still on the number 3 right now, and you can see it's quite a bit lighter than what I've been doing, so equally as deep, so that way, you know, it holds true over time. But you know, it just depends on how you want to work it, how much you want to go over it, how much of that gray wash you actually want to put into the skin. It's not always about the depth, it's just how much of that ink you want to apply into the skin. So so I don't want to say that you have to have it dark or light to put it in correctly. You know, you could use a number 3 gray wash in a lot of different ways, and any of the other gray wash is just the same. So you just have to learn how you tattoo, and just make sure it's consistent with how you do it. I like to saturate the skin a bit with them, so you'll see that in the end. It's gonna be pretty saturated throughout the tattoo. It might not be everyone's taste, but everyone has their own tastes and their own styles, and mine isn't necessarily better. If you want to do it a little bit lighter, then you do it a little bit lighter. Just make sure that you put it in deep enough. That ink isn't deep enough, then it's not going to hold true over time. A few years from now, if it's not deep enough, you're going to lose everything. People do a lot of pepper shading. It doesn't go deep enough. It kind of scratches the surface. A year later, all those lighter tones are just going to disappear. If they're not in deep enough. I know a lot of people. If you say you don't like gray wash and you just water down your black or whatever, more power to you. Everyone uses whatever they like. I personally like gray wash. I mean, as long as you put it in at consistent depths, your dark and your lighter at the same depth, then you're doing good. So it looks like I'm moving on to a number 2 or so. I think there's only a few things I used a number 1 on in this tattoo, which you'll see kind of near the end, obviously, since I told you I like to go in order, so that way I don't thin out my gray washes too much. This was another fun tattoo for me, which is why I made the tattoo. I always appreciate realism, surrealism, like anything that challenges me as an artist. It's as far as my style goes, at least. Lots of people, they like the traditional, look or whatever. Like I said, everyone has their own styles. I personally like, realism. So whenever I get a chance to do anything along those lines, it's always enjoyable. I don't really get a chance to do much of my style, really, yet, but hopefully I'm going to start throwing up some concept artwork on my Facebook for perspective tattoos, so look forward to that, and maybe you might like something, and if so, send me a message on Facebook and let me know. I believe I have the Facebook on a link to this video. I should, so send me a message, let me know. Looks like I'm still working with a number 2 in here. Like I said, putting it in pretty deep. You'll see separation anyway from the number 3, as long as it's consistent. And it looks like we're finishing up, a little bit of gap, so now you see the healed picture right here. Please invite me on Facebook and like our shop website. Thank you very much.